Before the season even kicks off, soccer fans are already making predictions. Who wins the league? Who qualifies for Europe? And who's lifting the trophy at season's end? On Kalshi, America's #1 prediction market platform, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use code CUP26 to get $10 when you trade 10. KALSHI, Kalshi. Trade the beautiful game. 18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory.
Low energy, unfocused, foggy? You might be dehydrated. Whether it's hot yoga, over 100-degree weather, or too much sun. Gatorlight, with a specialized blend of 5 electrolytes, was scientifically designed to help move fluids into the body faster for rapid rehydration. Shop now at retailers nationwide. Gatorlight hydrates faster than water. Is it in you? Symptoms noted are signs of mild to moderate dehydration. Consult a healthcare professional if symptoms persist.
Running a small business means I wear lots of hats. When I put on my hiring hat, I can count on LinkedIn Hiring Pro to make it easy. LinkedIn Hiring Pro helps manage my hiring workflow, puts my job post in front of a unique network of professionals, and matches me with the best candidates for my business. I can also share my job with my network. No other job site lets me do that. No wonder most small businesses say they'd use LinkedIn Hiring Pro again. Hire right the first time. Post your job for free on LinkedIn today at linkedin.com/quality.
Hello, I'm Jason Lee, and you are tuned in to Tricky Talk.
Who hits it low into the corner. Wood, who gets it back here through Gibbs. Towards the back post. Yes! In! Igor Jesus! Back post.
Hello, welcome along to the Tricky Talks podcast as Forest suffered defeat on the opening day of the season, with Leeds winning at the world famous for the first time in the top flight since 1972. Here to discuss the game and a whole lot more are the whole gang, and Chelsea, you're here this week. How are you?
Yes, I'm not too bad. I wish we had started the season off with a win or a draw at least, but it is what it is, I'm afraid.
It is. Kate, good to see you on Saturday. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. It's all right, isn't it? It'll be fine.
Yeah, we had a good chat at half time, didn't we, going on Instagram Live, and we were talking away for about 5, 6, 7 minutes, making some good points.
Really quality stuff it was. It
was really good quality stuff, I have to admit, only to discover we weren't actually on Instagram Live at all, were we? So we had to start all over again. So there was this little grey button on the phone, wasn't there, Kate, that I'm thinking, I think we should have pressed that. So we tried it, and then it says you do not have enough followers to go live on your account. We needed 1,000. So we ended up starting again, didn't we, on a Facebook Live broadcast, which went all right in the end, didn't it?
But yeah, we cobbled something together, didn't we?
We did, yeah, and we'll come on to that. And last but not least, Molo is here. From what I can gather, you had a terrific day on Saturday, if we don't count the game, and actually bumped into Darren Fletcher in town afterwards.
Yeah, well, I was in town, not the city. Yeah, no, it was a very nice day, catching up with everybody again. Apologies I didn't get down at half time. I completely forgot, and we ended up in the bar. But yeah, we met at 11 o'clock in the morning, just before, at 10:30 actually in the end. And I made it home about 12 and a half, 13 hours later. I had lots and lots of apple juices to keep me hydrated. It was a great day apart from the game.
It was. Let's get cracking straight onto that then. And we're going to start off with this week, our first ever Tricky Talks trivia, which I've popped up on the screen for those that are watching, and you're going to talk us through this, aren't you, Chelsea?
Yeah, so the Tricky Talks trivia. So Oliver Glasner becomes the 7th, I'm going to say that again, 7th straight permanent Forest manager to lose his first Premier League game in charge. When you first showed us that, Simon, I was quite surprised by that. I didn't realise the number was that high, to be honest. It gets to that point where you go, is it a bad omen? Is that what it is? Is it a coincidence? Is it just pure bad luck? Or is it just how Forest are? I have no idea. It could be all of those things, or it just could be one. What are you guys thinking?
Certainly seems to be a Glasner thing, doesn't it? You know, when you dig a little bit deeper into that, you can see that he lost. I mean, we know that he lost a lot with Palace. But when you go back deeper into his managerial career, it does seem to be a thing that he does. He starts off losing and then suddenly comes out with Europe. So that's the dream, isn't it? That's the hope. It is, what's going to happen. And I guess we'll break the game itself down into more detail as we go. But really, I'm not pressing the panic button just yet.
I was going to say that's a funny little stat, because obviously it's saying Premier League, so you're bringing in Dave Bassett, who had a tremendous season, but then we got the champions Arsenal in our first game. Steve Cooper had a obviously fantastic season, taking us up and drew his first game, but his first Premier League game was away at Newcastle when we still hadn't bought half the team. So it's just a bizarre little bit of trivia, I guess.
Yeah, it is a weird one. It doesn't mean anything in the whole scheme of things, does it? As previous managers have demonstrated. So it's the key underlying message here is don't panic.
Does that mean Ron Atkinson was the last person to win one?
Well, it's seventh straight permanent Forest manager. Yeah. Surely we've had 7 since Ron Atkinson.
Not in the Premier League necessarily.
I did hear one comment which
I
thought was taking it too far the other way, that somebody was saying because of Glasner's record in losing his first game or his first few games, it's almost a positive because it shows we're on the right trajectory. And I can't agree with that. And then somebody else said, is it worse that we only lost 1-0 than that we got absolutely battered because we came so close to getting something? And again, I thought, no. No, just no.
I think also it's a little bit misleading if it includes Steve Cooper in this, who technically did lose his first Premier League game in charge of Forest away at Newcastle, but it doesn't necessarily mean it was his first game in charge of Forest.
Same as I was saying with Dave Bassett, wasn't it? And what have you. But
So interesting stat. What do you think, Chelsea?
I think some people can read into it, can't they? And I'm not one of those people who are reading into it. I think it's just a coincidence of just what happens. Obviously, it's not the result that we wanted, and everyone wants to start off with a bang, don't they, for the first game of the season? Everyone wants a win, or if not, at least a draw. And unfortunately, it's just the way that it went on Saturday. But yeah, I'm not reading too much into that, but we just kind of see where we go from here, really. And we just hope for the best at the moment.
Yeah, let's get into the game then. And I want to start off the conversation by talking about Glasner's system, which it was the first competitive game using the new formation. He himself has said there isn't a magic button he can press to make Forest play like Real Madrid. But was there enough, do you think, guys, in the performance to suggest that the system will work? And I'll open it up to anybody.
Not with the players we've got. He still needs investment, doesn't he? The positives are build from the back. We look strong at the back. If we excuse the goalkeeping error, and we hope that's just an aberration because of what Matt Sells has done for us in the last couple of years. But do you remember my concern was, had we got enough to battle in midfield without Anderson? And I don't want to start raking up the stats straight away, because I watched the game very, very carefully. And then Gemma's abroad watched the game on TV as well. And I started digging up the stats, and I looked at a couple of things. And with this system, I said the defender's going to pick up some of the slack probably in midfield. But if you forget Mrilo Milenkovic, Sharkunya only made 2 or 3 defensive contributions off the top of my head. It was like 2 clearances, 1 tackle and a few headers and whatnot, but regaining possession wasn't particularly high. And then the fullbacks that are kind of effectively midfielders have to pick up the slack, which Nico actually did quite a bit. But then it was the same as his stats when he was a left-back last season, overall, across the whole season, admittedly, whereas this is a 1-game early doors. What was really interesting on the other side was Aina. His attacking stats were 3 times better than his average last season. And it looked that way on the pitch. And I can only assume he was substituted because he'd been booked, because he was 5 times better than Nico on the day, attacking-wise. Nico looked great getting in the position, then delivering absolute nothing with his left foot, did he?
Careful what you say in front of Kate.
No, I'm analysing what they did in the game. He made a lot of contributions in winning the ball in midfield. I think it was 7 or 6 winning of possession, something like that. I know stats are only part of it, but watching the game, it felt like that. Our defence looked solid. Our midfield looked quite like it was struggling. I've got to be careful how I say this next bit. It looks like a witch hunt. We had 2 central midfielders. One of them won the ball back 5 times, or one possession 5 times. One did it once. One won 3 tackles, one won none. And it's like, wow. If I said which one was it, you'd be amazed. The physical, big 6'4" midfielder had the weakest defensive stats. And he made 1 tackle. No, sorry, I'm lying. I've got the wrong way around to that bit. No, I haven't. I've got it right. McAtee won 6 duels and recovered the ball 5 times. What I was doing when I was looking at these stats, and you can jump down that rabbit hole, can't you? Because the game felt like that. I was then compared it to what Anderson was doing. Have we picked up the slack? And we haven't yet, which is understandable because he averaged, so even with his bad games thrown in, he averaged 8 ball recoveries per game over it. Little things like that showed. We had a Notts County fan stood with us who was there for the day randomly. And after he said at half time, it just feels like Leeds, that phrase, want it more, but are more physical, winning all the second balls and stuff, weren't they? I don't think it's a system. I think it's getting his players doing the right things in the right positions. And weirdly, I mean, having looked at it carefully, one of those right players might well be McAtee with the right man alongside him.
Yeah, I did want to talk about
winning the ball more.
I did want to talk about the midfield, actually, on one of the talking points I've got in my notes. So let's jump there now. We'll come back to Glasner's system in a moment. And I wanted to ask Kate whether you think, specifically focusing on Gibbs-White and Doy, Sangare and McAtee as the ones that were in the middle. We've talked about Aina and Williams already on the wings. Do you think of those 4 we've got enough creativity? Because it seemed as though that was a key component that was missing against Leeds, in that they didn't create much. There weren't too many opportunities in terms of goal scoring chances, were there? So what is the lack of attacking threat? Partly because Forest couldn't get the ball into dangerous areas because of the personnel that they've got playing there, do you think?
I think it was a classic first game of the season in that they looked rusty. And I think learning the new system and putting the new system into practice in an actual competitive Premier League game, also it is going to take some time. And I don't feel like it wasn't that they didn't know what they were supposed to be doing. I just think they're at the point with it where it isn't coming naturally to them yet. So I felt in terms of the system, there was actually a lot to be hopeful for. Yes, midfield is definitely an issue, and I think I was surprised to see McAtee in that role. He isn't, we spoke about this at the end of last season and in close of season. Is there somebody already in the squad that can replace Anderson? And again, I don't want to dig him out, but I don't see that being McAtee. I think there needs to be much more from him before I'm willing to buy into that. I think what I found disappointing was I think Dominguez would have been great at that. What Mollo was saying, that digging in, that battling.
Isn't that supposed to be the number 6? Well, we don't really have a number 6 anymore, do we? Even though he is number 6. Isn't that supposed to be the job of the midfield? Though McAtee won more of his battle. He got better pass completion. 89% completed passes in the opposition half as opposed to 64%. I mean, I think, and it happens all the time at Forest, we've got this preconception, and I know I've got one about a certain thing, and I just can't believe no one else can see it, but I went in there hoping McAtee a clean slate, and I felt at the game he did okay, and then seeing it back, he did better than okay. Nearly all our best chances that should have scored came from his left foot. Some of his touches were sublime, and he won his battles. He won more than... got the percentage now, but more than 50% of his duels.
It's interesting to hear you say that, because that wasn't my experience watching it.
Have you seen it back though? Because watching it is different to... there's that thing, when you're watching it, it's the feel of the game, isn't it? So I know exactly what you mean.
No, I haven't watched it back. I still feel that even with this system of Glasner's, we have to be battling for that ball in the midfield.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have
one of them was.
And if that's not what Sangare is going to do, and
what is he going to do?
Classically, maybe it's not what he has done, and this is what shows him up, isn't it? Anderson obviously did that. We always described Sangare as a bit of an enabler for other people to do their jobs. So it's new.
Yeah, it's early days.
Maybe we give it a few games and see if that partnership does start to gel. But keeping in mind, we've got Dominguez, we've got Schlager, and that they could could show some promise. What I think would be actually really interesting is if he stuck with it for tomorrow, if he played McAtee and Sangare again, started them, because actually what we're saying is we need to see more, they need to do more. And if they are his pick, and it would seem that they are, he certainly seems to like McAtee, then it's an opportunity for them to have more experience in doing that, and it may be becoming a little bit more natural.
I just don't know whether they're going to complement each other, though. That's what I'm struggling to. I totally understand your point, Kate, and I'm thinking, right, are they just taking a while to gel together in midfield?
That's the question. Obvious thing is everyone's saying who's going to start alongside Sangare, but yesterday's only a snapshot. He fitted the system better than Sangare. He did better defensively, better attacking wise. It's frustrating to see it, and now everyone's saying, "Oh well, we didn't win because we haven't got this." We haven't got that. McAtee completed. I forget what it was now. 2 or something like 2 completed crosses, both that should have been scored, things like that. And it's like, I totally get it. History counts, but in this system, your midfielders have to be more progressive. One thing we know about Sangare is he's got a lovely pass on him, a lovely shot on him when he does it at the right time. He's got a hammer of a right foot, and it looks like he's got a bit of vision when he's got time.
It's like what Chelsea said. You've got to find that right combination, the right 2 players in the middle. Do you think Forest fans are going to need to show some patience with Glasner in this system? Because it's clearly early days, as we've said, or would you have liked to have seen more, given the pre-season they've had, the long pre-season working with him? Would you have liked to have seen more straight away?
I'd have liked to have seen more straight away. I do think there is still an element of patience there. It's, you know, with pre-season friendlies, you know, it's very different when you're, you know, playing in the Premier League season in front of all those people. It's a whole different ball game, a lot more pressure. I think with the game, obviously, it was very evident about the lack of new signings, you know, with midfield, you know, striker, you know, all of those. And I understand that there is a new system. And I think it is going to take a while to gel to the new system. However, at the moment, because of the lack of new signings, we've got our old players trying to play a new system. That is going to take some time. It is going to take a while for things to gel together. But how long is too long? That's what we've got to try and figure out. I understand that we have got to have patience, but it is how long do you wait? I don't want to get into a point where you're ending up losing games, but we've got to be patient with Glasner because, you know, that's the new system and that's that excuse that keeps coming out. We had that before. Oh, yeah, how long do we wait with this new manager? Yeah, but we're still playing the same kind of football all the time. And I think we just need new, fresh legs coming into the team and be able to integrate into the new system well, and it will make our old existing players be able to integrate into a new system better because they have new players. That's my mentality of it, and I think it was just very evident in the game on Saturday.
You could argue we had enough clear-cut chances.
Should have won the game.
To win the game, or at the very least draw, because there was the Chris Wood chance, which, what ball? You know, we were talking about this before we came on air.
Yeah.
You know, he should have buried that. I think you said, didn't you, Chelsea, that a couple of seasons back he absolutely would. There was one nailed-on chance for Jesus and another one which I thought really he also should have been scoring. So that, again, we're moving forward to the forwards. But is that rustiness? Is that's not necessarily new system. That's asking a striker to score a goal.
I do want to move on to the forwards and continue this conversation because Glasner's already indicated that Forest need more attacking options before the transfer window closes. Do you think it was just a bad finishing day, or is the attacking structure the bigger problem?
To me, it felt like nothing felt new for me watching that game. I felt like we were watching the same Forest last season. I didn't feel like there was anything different. It's that thing of, I said to Dad, I reckon we had chances, but we weren't scoring. And you knew we weren't going to score. So it was either we were going to settle for a draw or it was going to be a loss. And that's just how I felt like a lot of like towards the second half of the last season, like in that middle patch. And sorry, I've gone blank. What was the question?
I think with the late free kick, I think that was flashbacks to not just last season but previous seasons. I think everybody collectively, when Milenkovic did what he did and we conceded that free kick, I think everybody in the ground was thinking they're going to score this because it's late in the game and it's Forest. And
I got told off.
Did you?
Yeah, I said in the ground, somebody stood next to us, said they're going to score from this. Don't even, words were, if you put that out into the universe, it could happen, and obviously it happened. And then it was like, it was that comedy of errors, wasn't it? Like Milenkovic mistimed his tackle. Then the wall seemed to split. They kind of jumped with their eyes closed. Nobody kept their eye on, they should have took one in the head in a sense. And then we had the Weetabix wrists, didn't we, come back to haunt us again.
He dived over it, didn't he?
No, he got a full hand to it. It's ridiculous.
A lot to pick apart from that free kick. I don't know whether you've seen the clip on social media that somebody videoed of the goal from the Brian Clough upper, and you could quite clearly see, it was a decent free kick, but the wall clearly didn't do their job. They separated, and Sells could have done a lot better. You don't expect a goalie to be beaten at his near post from that sort of angle. So it was kind of, I wouldn't say the blame rests solely on one individual, I would say it was more of a collective series of errors across the board.
Last line of defence has to stop that, though. There's no, Trafford would have stopped it the way he was playing, and the size of him now.
Just want to continue the conversation on the strikers, though, Mollo, and we've obviously got Taiwo's now gone, which leaves us pretty much with Chris Wood, Jesus and Kalimuendo, all of whom played on Saturday. Chris Wood, we know, is up front and out striker. Jesus can drop into a 10 if he needs to, as he did when Wood came on, and Kalimuendo seems to be just playing a bit part role these days at the moment. Do you think Mollo Glasner needs a completely different type of forward?
Before the season even kicks off, soccer fans are already making predictions. Who wins the league? Who qualifies for Europe? And who's lifting the trophy at season's end? On Kalshi, America's #1 prediction market platform, you're trading against peers in a live market, meaning there's no house. And as the probability changes, you can buy in and out of your position. For a limited time, download the Kalshi app and use code CUP26 to get $10 when you trade 10. KALSHI, Kalshi. Trade the beautiful game. 18 plus only. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory.
Low energy, unfocused, foggy? You might be dehydrated. Gatorade Zero powders have been scientifically designed to help improve hydration balance in the body. With a clinically proven electrolyte blend and no artificial colors or flavors. Great tasting hydration no matter where you're going. Shop now online or at retailers nationwide. Gatorade, hydrates better than water. Is it in you? Symptoms noted are signs of mild to moderate dehydration. Consult a healthcare professional if symptoms persist.
Running a small business means I wear lots of hats. When I put on my hiring hat, I can count on LinkedIn Hiring Pro to make it easy. LinkedIn Hiring Pro helps manage my hiring workflow, puts my job post in front of a unique network of professionals, and matches me with the best candidates for my business. I can also share my job with my network. No other job site lets me do that. No wonder most small businesses say they'd use LinkedIn Hiring Pro again. Hire right the first time. Post your job for free on LinkedIn today at linkedin.com/quality.
We know that they're interested in a striker
they could do with a better
complement.
version, definitely. But I actually thought Jesus, and this can sound daft, as always, played really well. But his number one job is to score goals, and that header at the Trent end was just teeny bit out timing wise. But as he ran in from our angle, like, I'm going to score. I couldn't believe he missed the target. Was the frustration. The one the keeper saved, he should have. It was a fantastic leap. That once he got there, he perhaps could have done a bit better. Wood's one, a fully fit and firing Chris Wood definitely hits the target. I'm not saying he definitely scores because he was up against the giant of a goalkeeper as he is now, but he didn't even hit the target. So if you're not doing your job and it continues, eventually someone's going to come into your place, aren't they? And Gibbs White, I think it was 3 or 4 shots at goal, albeit not really chances. It's one of them, isn't it? At the end of last season, these sort of chances seem to fly in left, right and centre, like at Chelsea with Taiwo's headers and away at Sunderland where everything flew in, and it just wasn't happening for us. Let's be clear, Leeds worked really hard, but they did not look a good side. No. I can only remember one other real chance they had where he got a reasonable header in that Sells made a good save on. And that's the only thing I disagree with Chelsea about. It's like watching last season, is that we look really solid at the back, even though we're not yet at full strength, because I think if our new right-sided centre-back's as good as we're led to believe, it could be really exciting, because the way Murillo stepped into that system was probably one of the most promising things on the day as well. But strikers-wise, we need some.
Yeah, hold that thought. We'll come on to the defence in a minute, but I just want to ask you about the rumour that was doing rounds at the weekend where some journalist put out on social media that Forest had bid 70 million for Igor Thiago of Brentford. I think I've just laughed my socks off when I heard that rumour, Kate, because that just seems to be the one and only source that has reported it. You know, I can't see Forest spending 70 million on a striker, however good he is.
Why not?
I mean, we've got the money, of course, but I just can't see it.
Why not? Like, I don't know. You know, like we've got the money. Renakis is very ambitious. I think. I mean, it may well be just some guy wanting to up his Twitter followers, and we know that. But the more I think about that, the more I like it. So I'm hoping there's a bit of something in it. I mean, equally, I would take Delap. I think that would also be a reasonable signing. But I mean, yeah.
Well, you think usually we're spending like 100 million, and we've got 116 from Anderson, but we've spent 34 million.
Strikers are expensive, aren't they?
Yeah, oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Gold. And I mean, he's certainly proven to do that.
Yeah, I mean, if they're going to spend money on a striker, they're going to have to pay premium costs for it and 70
wages.
million and premium wages. Yeah, premium. Igor Thiago is a premium player, isn't he? So you're going to have to pay a premium to get him. So we'll wait and see if anything develops on that one. Plenty of time yet before the transfer window closes. I did mention, Molo, I wanted to come back to the defence, and you touched on our new right-sided central defender, Diamande, who didn't play the game, and he started on the bench and didn't come on. Do you think that was the right call? Because we all had him in our starting lineups last week on the preview. We were all expecting to play, but obviously Glasner felt differently. Were you surprised that he didn't make an appearance?
I know
the defence were solid, weren't they? They said not to take anything away from Jer Cunha, who played really well, but were you surprised Diamande didn't start?
Very surprised, but I had no inkling about his match fitness, and that's what people are saying. He's not yet ready, not quite match fit. Then there's that old question, how do you get match fit if you don't play matches? But anyway, and he obviously sees something, you know, Cunha's quite good on the ball, so there's something there. But would a more proactive right-sided centre-back have been making the tackle instead of Milenkovic? Then that, I know it's a little thing, but if he's I thought Cunha did all right. And I thought the defence looked really solid, and it took an absolute howler of a goalkeeping error and a very well struck free kick. I mean, it wasn't like it was a tapping for them to score. So I think our problems lie elsewhere. I thought Aina fitted into the system really, really well. It looked like he fitted into the system, but there was no end product. That break down the left in the first half, a left-footed player, and as a left-footed left back in a forward, it doesn't really matter so much. But there was no width, so he's the width, and there was a beautiful pass. Just needed a shaping, and we saw it a few times in other games. It just needed shaping across the back four. Someone was running on, but he held on too long because he was kind of, you know, it's like on your wrong foot. You're trying to get your balance, get the best connection. And he put the ball across and it was easily defended. And I think that happened 2 or 3 times. His left foot is actually okay, but it's not instinctive, is it? If you know what I mean. But
you mentioned Dollar Aina there, and I do want to share the photo of Aina's tackle, which was I wasn't too concerned at the time, but because obviously it happened really, really quickly, and I'm popping it up on the screen now for those that are watching, of course, and it looks worse in the photo than I remember it being in real time. And you and I, Kate, talked about it at half time, and we're quite happy that he only got a yellow for that. But looking at that photo, it does look quite bad, doesn't it?
Do you know what, though? It did. And I did have a moment, I think I said this to you at half time, I did have a moment when it flashed up that they were VARing it. I thought, ooh, is he going to go? I was very, very glad that he didn't, because, again, I've heard a lot of criticism levelled at him from other Forest fans and other podcasts, and I thought he did well. I thought he played with, you know, I think he looked like he was enjoying the new element to his game. You know, we spoke about whether or not he would get tired quickly. He seemed to have the energy. He seemed to have a good amount of creativity. I really enjoyed watching him play. So I think it would have been real bad if he'd have got sent off, because, you know, that would have snuffed that out. I mean, obviously, if you want me to say should he have been sent off, of course not, Simon. That is a perfect. I don't even think it was a yellow, to be quite honest. I don't know. Even
it was an orange card, I thought.
For those that are listening to the audio version, go and check out the pictures that are doing rounds on social media of Aina's tackle, because the second one in particular looks quite nasty, Chelsea, doesn't it? So I think I can't blame the Leeds defender for feeling the pain.
He's got the ball, though. Look.
I don't even see the ball.
Yeah, between his legs.
Yeah.
Do you know what? It's one of them ones where if that happened against you, you'd be going, "Get him off." But if that's one of your own, you go, "No, yellow, that will do."
It was identical to Elliot Anderson in the Europa semi at home, wasn't it? And in the same place.
That's true.
It must be you, Kate. You want to put these tackles in front of you.
Mentioned about Diamande being on the bench, and he didn't come on, but somebody who was on the bench that did come on was Slager. I mean, any initial thoughts? He didn't play for too much in the second half. Any initial thoughts, Kate or Mollo? I know you saw the game, Chelsea. I don't know how much he would have appeared on the highlights that you've seen, but anyone want to offer some thoughts on Slager's performance?
I didn't see a lot of him, to be honest, but again, I think it's just going to be one of them players. First game is always tricky, isn't it? So yeah, you just got to keep watching him play over, and hopefully he'll gain more minutes.
I like him. He looks competent on the ball, a little bit deep, and I think he's probably, but for a new signing, probably going to be in the starting lineup sometime soon. It's just a question of for who, because he looks physical. Look, I mean, he only lost the ball once, and under pressure. He gave the ball away 11 times, by the way. I know that's a bit of a misnomer because he was in those tight spots a lot. He gave the ball, although he played quite well, he did give the ball away an awful lot. And in that system, fullbacks are one of your main attacking weapons, aren't they? His attacking play was very good, to be fair. So,
does anyone know how tall he is?
Slager.
Yeah.
He's a unit, isn't he? He looks.
I was going to say, because when he came on, I thought, geez.
Do you think he'd be Slager tops?
Oh, dear.
If he was quite tall.
There it is. We wait for it every pod, ladies and gentlemen. And there it is.
Larger than life, isn't he?
Yeah, I just wondered when I saw your fantasy team name pop into our league, Mollo, whether you'd name it Slager, given the session you had at the weekend.
Yeah, it was my son came up with a name, my youngest, but yeah. And I thought he did well. I thought he did. He wasn't on for very long, and I think the idea of bringing him on was probably to maintain the point and not lose the point, which obviously didn't quite work out, but there we go.
All right, I want to move on.
He picked up from where he left off and what we saw of him in pre-season. He's promising, you know. He's by no means the finished product. There's settling in time to do. We need to see more of him, all of those things. But from what I've seen so far, I like it. And I'll be very happy to see more.
He looks very unflustered, doesn't he, on the ball? Very calm.
Yeah, I want to talk about one more thing before we move on, and that's the reaction after the game. You get a sense of either it's panic or perspective, don't you? We've talked about it already. On the one side, you've got it's one game, new manager, new system, new season. On the other hand, you've got it's not the result, it's the performance. Forest looks short of ideas. So you've got, and we're going to share in a moment an extreme reaction that appeared on our social media. We'll share that in a moment. But one of your thoughts, guys, on it does appear to be one extreme or the other, doesn't it, in terms of how people are feeling after that result?
Yeah, I think it was me that posted it, wasn't it? I gave it the thumbs down. And it's funny because I had this conversation with my brother who sent me a very irate message that had landed by the time I got home saying, well, I think we were crap, you know, and it is that knee-jerk reaction when you've just seen your team lose to Leeds on the opening day. And this was the extreme reaction comment that we got on the socials on my thumbs down picture. I just see another managerial shake-up. You do not lose at home to Leeds on the opening match of the season, end of. And, you know, that's somebody that's been quite cross. And I can relate to the crossness because here's a funny story. So Yates was sat really, really close to us because I think I've told you before, I sit near where the injured players and invited guests and stuff. And I spotted him when he came and sat down. And I said to my boys, I'm 100% going over to Ryan Yates and trying to get a selfie at the end of the game. But when the final whistle blew, I was so cross. I was like, let's go home. So it's a similar thing. And whether or not he means that, I foresee another managerial shake-up. You know, I don't know. I understand the anger at losing that game because as much as it feels like, you know, we've got all the games left to play, we know from experience that every point counts. And, you know, like Chelsea said, how long do you give it? We can't afford to give it too long. We can't afford to give ourselves an an uphill battle.
Can't afford not to, though.
In terms of
both finances and where do we go? Let's not even talk about it at this stage. It is an extreme reaction, and I understand their anger. And there was people around me, because obviously A Block's very passionate as well, going, this system's crap. He hasn't got the right players. We never should have brought him in. What was wrong with Vitor? And I get all that. But in the cold light of day, you build from the back, and the back's already looking better and good, and not like conceding. And Murillo looked really comfortable there and did what he does, bringing the ball up. It's just a case of tweaking, maybe replacing one or two as we move forward, however he does it. I think, I could understand the anger, because conceding a late goal from 3 consecutive mistakes as well. And if you take it back, we gave the ball away in the first place for them to have the ball in our half. And it's just like, come on, sort this out, and then we concede.
I was just going to say, you can understand people being cross and disappointed, and in the immediate aftermath of a game, of course, you're going to perhaps say things that are overreacting, if you like. But at the end of the day, it's one game.
Yeah,
there's no perspective if you come out with a comment like that, is there? You've got to give it more time. Crystal Palace always notoriously bad at slow starting in a season, so you've got to put some perspective before you start to make a judgment on these kind of comments, I think. Go on, Chelsea.
Yeah, no, I think it's more, obviously that's a very extreme reaction. I think it's more frustration more than anything. It is the 87th minute, goal. And I think when you're looking at Hull beating United like 2-0, then you got Town beating Sunderland 2-1. It just makes that a bit more frustrating, doesn't it? Because it is one of them games where you look at it on paper and you think, wow, we should win that. So I think it is that collective of the frustration which makes people angry. Like I said, that's a very extreme reaction. Get people's frustrations. But now at the start of the season, it's like, right, we know what we need to do. We know we need to make signings. We know that needs to happen. And then hopefully over the next couple of games, we start to see that improvement and signings.
Kenny Cunningham, who was a pundit for the day, saying Leeds have perhaps caught Forest at a good time, because Leeds have got that formation that's established. There weren't many changes, and Forest is still learning it. And he also talked about, weirdly, that Palace always had 2 wide men, whereas we've got Gibbs White as one of them. And he's talking about whether Gibbs White would fit into the system, which is insane.
Jeez.
We like the extreme reactions, though, because it gives us content on our social media that we can talk about on the pod. So we'll hopefully have more extreme reactions to come in next week, and more Tricky Talks trivia as well.
This is a safe space, everyone. You can say what you like.
Yeah. One thing I didn't do, I didn't put the person's name who made that comment, because I wouldn't want to embarrass them. But you know what? If one of you guys come out with a comment, then you're definitely going to get your name on the extreme reaction. But I'd like to think we have more sense than that. We do it all over again on Tuesday. Glasner's already confirmed that Morgan Gibbs-White will not be playing due to an injury he picked up in the second half. So we're going to have at least one change there. But would you make any other changes, Molo? I think he's already indicated that he will make a few changes. Where would you expect those to be? We're not going to do a full-blown preview of the same opposition, but where would you think he's most likely to make those changes? Or where would you like to see those changes?
I think pretty much right across the team, but maybe whatever he sees, if we haven't signed, well, I hope we have signed someone by then. If we haven't signed anyone by Saturday, I think I'm with, I can't remember if Chelsea or Kate said it, play with it, what he sees as his first choice central midfielders, and decide what he's going to do about that left-hand side full-back situation. Does he trust Ola? Would you rather have, it seems inconceivable not to have Williams starting after a season he had. On early showing seems to suit the system better. Neps is a naturally left-footed wing-back rather than left-back. It's a tricky one. I'm sure we'll have a look at most of the subs who came on or we played. Yeah, I'd go full changes, get the new lad playing at the back, get him match fit and ready for Saturday, because I've got a bad feeling about Saturday.
What about you, Kate? How many changes, if any, would you make tomorrow?
See, I think that's really difficult, because I do think we need time to learn this new system. And I also think that it needs to not be underestimated that this is a route to Europe for us. And Glasner did say in his press conference today exactly that. We want to win a trophy. We are taking this competition seriously. And I know that in some respects that's the stock line, isn't it? You're never going to. Well, actually, we did have a manager that said they weren't going to take it that seriously, didn't we? But so I'm a little bit torn. I want to see some of the new signings. I do, but as I said before, this is a horrible draw, and it worries me. It worries me. So I actually think I would like to see minimal changes, but maybe just some more subs and certainly earlier subs.
Yeah. What about you, Chelsea? Where would you go?
Sorry, there's so many police sirens that I've literally been driving outside my house. So I have to keep muting my mic. I'm really torn between best team forward, because like Kate said, winning trophies, you know, I'd love to see that bit of silverware. But then also as well, given, you know, players that opportunity, like Diamande, Schlager, you know, even like McAtee to a certain extent, getting him more minutes. So I really don't know. I have no idea what I do. And like Kate was saying, I don't like this draw at all. I don't like as well that we're coming off the back of a loss against Leeds as well. It's all of that just becomes more frustrating. And I think just best team forward. That's what I would say. Best team.
Reading between the lines, I get the sense he's going to consider those players that came back late from World Cup duty may not be ready to play 2 in a week. And I'm talking about the likes of Sangare and Ndoye, perhaps. So if you're going to rest those, you have Schlager in, I think, alongside McAtee to see what he can do. And I'd also like to see Diamande get some minutes as well, because the sooner he starts playing, the sooner he can get used to that system, which is pretty much what Kate had said.
That'd be cool. If you are having Schlager and McAtee in midfield, it'd be really interesting to see if that is a more suitable pairing in that midfield rather than McAtee and Sangare. It's almost like that trial and error system, isn't it? And seeing who fits better as a partnership. Yeah,
and the other option, of course, is to push McAtee forward into Ndoye's role and have Dominguez in there alongside Schlager as well. That's a strong-looking central midfield.
Hutchinson fit? I can't remember.
I don't know.
He wasn't in the squad, was he?
No.
But he was doing laps of the pitch lengths of the pitch at the end as well. So whether he's nearly fit, I don't know.
And talking of the bench, it was good to see Zach Abbott on the bench and keeping the streak alive, wasn't it? That was great to see. And obviously Morato, Bakwa, Hutchinson, 3 prominent names that were not in the squad. So it remains to be seen whether they get brought onto the bench this week.
Got a knock, though, hasn't he?
He might have done, yeah. Yeah, right. Coming to the end of the show, one more thing to bring you, and that is our weekly FPL update. So straight over to you, Chelsea. The best part I'm looking forward to this week, Chelsea.
Yeah, I know. See, Simon's really looking forward to it. I hope that you were going to forget about it, if I'm honest, Simon. Us 3, as in Molo, me and Kate, not doing too well. Simon, on the other hand, is in 3rd place, people. His name is Trees Crowd. He's scored 61 points. I did see the same error that you did with me as me, though, Simon. You did Captain Fernandes. Yep.
Don't regret that. Don't regret that, Chelsea, because it was either going to be Fernandes or Haaland.
Yeah,
and
that's
neither
true.
of them returned.
That's true. So I was just trying to find a weak point, but don't worry.
You did have your bench boost, though, didn't you, Simon?
Yeah, I did.
He did have his bench boost.
I should have done that.
You did have your bench boost.
I had a whole City player to make up my numbers because he was cheap. He got loads of points. I don't even know his name, but he played.
Well, this is the gap, people. This is the gap. Simon's 3rd. I am 32nd in 32nd place. 32nd, people. That's the next one. I scored 38 points. Don't even want to go there with mine. Don't even want to go there. Then it is. Sorry, I didn't put yours in, Kate. I believe.
Got 30 points at the moment.
Molo, you're in 44th place with 35
points.
Not all
bad news then. I like it.
And then Kate, where are you? That's because I didn't put you in. Kate, do you know where?
Low energy, unfocused, foggy? You might be dehydrated. Gatorade Zero powders have been scientifically designed to help improve hydration balance in the body. With a clinically proven electrolyte blend and no artificial colors or flavors. Great tasting hydration no matter where you're going. Shop now online or at retailers nationwide. Gatorade, hydrates better than water. Is it in you? Symptoms noted are signs of mild to moderate dehydration. Consult a healthcare professional if symptoms persist.
Running a small business means I wear lots of hats. When I put on my hiring hat, I can count on LinkedIn Hiring Pro to make it easy. LinkedIn Hiring Pro helps manage my hiring workflow, puts my job post in front of a unique network of professionals, and matches me with the best candidates for my business. I can also share my job with my network. No other job site lets me do that. No wonder most small businesses say they'd use LinkedIn Hiring Pro again. Hire right the first time. Post your job for free on LinkedIn today at linkedin.com/quality.
This message is brought to you by Apple Card. Shave ice by the beach. A trip to the state fair. And a throwback flick at the local drive-in. They're more than just items to check off the summer bucket list. They're also opportunities to earn 2% daily cash back when you use your Apple Card with Apple Pay. Apply for Apple Card now and use in-minutes with Apple Pay. Subject to credit approval. Apple Card is issued by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, Salt Lake City branch. Terms and more at applecard.com.
Do you know whereabouts you are, Kate? I'm trying to find you. Sorry about this, people. I forgot. Oh, there we go, Kate. You're 50th with 34 points.
Yeah.
So you're only 1 point behind Mollo. But one thing that I did find very, very interesting is that the highest scoring player for Forest was Aina, 5 points. You only think, God, I had Gibbs White in my team as well.
Well,
5
got booked.
Yeah,
5
defensive
points. Contributions.
I was going to say, yeah I reckon because that was his Defcon points. Because Williams only got 2.
He did put in a lovely couple of crosses as well.
Yeah, Williams got 2, Milenkovic got 2. The leader at the top of our Tricky Talks podcast league with 75 points is Ricky Jackson. Does anybody know who that person is?
Wow.
No, but he did play his bench boost.
Now.
Yes. So, yeah, he scored a total of 75 points, which is very, very good.
There's City Ipswich fans all over their areas with dead good scores.
Yeah.
I noticed Gareth Parry, the reigning champion, is currently in 5th, I think, Chelsea.
Already?
Yeah, joint 4th on the same points. So, and he also played his bench boost. That's one thing I have noticed. There's a lot of people played their bench boost in the first game week, Simon included. Clearly, we weren't
who
looking
got the
at
highest score on Sofa Score in terms of mark out of 10. For us, obviously, Leeds had better.
Oh, no, I didn't.
3, which sums up the game. Nobody was amazing, were they? Nobody was terrible. I won't say yet because we haven't done the man of the match, have we?
Oh, yeah, let's go back and do that then. Sorry, I did forget about the man of the match. So we didn't put a poll up on social media to get your fans' view of man of the match, but let's go around the room anyway and give our own. We'll start with you, Mollo. Who is your man of the match? And we'll keep a record of all of these, of course, like we did last season.
Okay. I was torn between 3, which was Murillo, Aina and McAtee. So, not to become a Sado Stato, but I'm going with Sofa Score, who our highest scoring player was James McAtee.
Nice one. Kate, who are you going for?
I am going for Ola Aina and I think this is partially because he was on our side a lot of the time. And even when Nico switched, he then switched back, didn't he? So,
yeah.
But he just caught my eye. I just thought, he really played with some intent, like he had something to prove. And I enjoyed watching him, so I am going Ola Aina.
He looks like he suits the system going forward, doesn't he?
Yeah, Chelsea?
I'm going with Murillo. Surely his defensive role, his clearances, and that gorgeous ball down the middle to Wood, even though he didn't finish it. But beside the point, we'll forget about that bit. But yeah, Murillo, I think you've done brilliantly.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Murillo as well. So he is currently leading with 2 votes.
Being Stato again, he had the most clearances and defensive contributions with 11.
Good, nice Stato. Right, that brings this week's show to a close. Any other business? Start with you, Mollo. Anything you want to bring up?
No, just looking forward to Tuesday, and hopefully the crowd's going to be a lot bigger than it looked like it was going to be the other day when I saw ticketing. I can't understand it. I know it's not the most amazing draw because we've just played them, but it's a Premier League team and it's 15 to 20 quid. People moaning they can't, I'll rephrase that. People saying they can't go because they can't get tickets normally. This is their chance to go and take the kids, and not really much more than it costs to go to the cinema.
Yeah, absolutely. I fully agree. I think anyone who does struggle to go, ideal opportunity. And if they don't, they've got no complaints, have they? They can't complain about not going if they don't try and get to a game like this. Admittedly, mitigating factors such as school holidays may play a part as well, but that's not going to impact everybody, is it? Right, Kate, anything from you?
I'm going to be on Radio Nottingham on Wednesday evening on In the Game. So if you're not bored of listening to me on here and you'd like to listen to me on there, I'm doing it quite a bit at the moment, really enjoying it. So yeah, 6 till 7 Wednesday evenings on Radio Nottingham. Excellent. Look forward to that. And last thing from you, Chelsea, anything?
No, nothing. Just, looking forward to the next game, and let's hope that we do our next podcast is on the back of a win. That'd be lovely.
Yes, indeed. Depends how much we focus on the league games. Very much depend on the result, I guess. But we'll come to you with another pod on Thursday, I believe, where we'll talk about the aforementioned Leeds game and look forward to an easy trip to Anfield to see if we can get 3 in a row. Who would believe it? Hey, we'd be talking about that. But in the meantime, Thanks everybody for listening and for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you again real soon.